clear and concise difference. Because in an arbitration, a neutral third party comes in, but it is that third party that will make a determination, as opposed to mediation, where the mediator is in charge of the process, but the outcome is determined by the parties. Yes.
Okay. What are some of the key principles of mediation, Chacha?
Mediation is actually anchored on the following principles. One, neutrality, impartiality. You have to be very impartial when you are leading a mediation process. And confidentiality. Everything you handle within mediation has to remain confidential within the confine of the disputants and you, the third neutral party. Yes.
Yeah. So those are the principles around it. You know, in mediation, there has to be a mediator. So when you talk about mediator, who exactly is this person and what is their responsibility?
First of all, I will say that anybody can be a mediator. In every sense, from the family setup, we mediate matters every day.
Yeah.
You will find you have a dispute with your children, with your wife, with your co-workers, everywhere. And the first line of dispute resolution is actually mediation. But for us, we have now taken it up a notch higher because it has now been underpinned under the 2010 Constitution, Article 159 2C. Mediators are now trained and they take up matters in court.
Okay.
Like now we have the court-annexed mediation and private mediation. Yes.
Yeah. So what role exactly does it play in conflict resolution?
Mediation plays a very critical role because it brings together the two disputants. We don't call them claimants or plaintiffs. They are both of them equal and they are called disputants. It brings them together. It allows them to ventilate what has aggrieved them. That is what is the conflict. And they prioritize what are their interests, and then they're able to negotiate around their interests to be able to strike a compromise between the two parties and arrive at a settlement agreement. And that settlement agreement, if reduced in writing through a private mediation, it has to be it has to cover all the full issues of all the issues around their conflict. And if it's within the court annexed mediation, then it can be partial or full settlement. Once registered with the court and adopted by the judge or the magistrate, then it becomes a decree of the court.
So why exactly mediation? You know, aside from, you know, other ways of resolving disputes, why mediation? You know, if you try and just look at the differences, why mediation? Yeah,
mediation is key because as opposed to litigation or arbitration, where arbitration is private litigation, mediation has more advantages, and I'll only bring out three, which are key. That is, it will be able to save the costs you incur while you are in court litigation or in arbitration. It is also able to save time, because it spends like maximum of 60 days, at most 3 months, as opposed to litigation, which probably minimum would be 3 years or even more. Three, it saves relationship. Parties and human beings are interrelated, or they're related in one way or another before they get a conflict. But through litigation, they leave the courts with their relationship either broken down completely, but through mediation, they leave the session while having shaken hands. So it saves relationships. Three things: it saves relationship, saves time, and saves money.
Yeah, compared to
that is why we should go for mediation.
Yeah, you feel like this is the way to go.
Just to add on to what he has also said, mediation is a win-win. If you go for litigation, it's either one party wins or one party loses.
Yes.
But in a mediation, all the parties win because you get to arrive at a settlement that is conducive for both disputants. Yes.
Yeah, and even just maybe to speak on that, you know, I'm sure every Kenyan will relate to the mediation that took place in the country back in the year 2007, 2008, when we had the post-election violence. We had a mediator come in to just resolve the dispute, and they got to resolve it, and the fight ended. So I get where you're coming from, exactly. You know, where we had Kofi Annan coming in and just, you know, settling things. You know, when you've talked about, you know, maybe the backlogs and and how long, you know, litigation takes, you know, the time that it takes and the cost and all that. Can we talk about the current statistics on the backlogs, of court backlogs to be specific, in Kenya? Do you have the statistics?
Yeah, going by, for example, the 2022-2023 judiciary annual reports, you'll realize that actually the backlog of cases in court is soaring. Just Milimani alone, you'll realize that in the magistrates' courts, we have about 330,000 cases pending. And if you go to the family division, High Court, we have 78,000 cases pending. If you go to the criminal division, 80,000 cases pending.
Wow.
Land is life. If you go to the Land, Environment and Land Division, 50,000 cases are pending. And compare that with the staffing level within judiciary. The judicial officers are grossly understaffed. They cannot uptake those backlog of cases. And this makes it necessary to employ, actually to respond to the spirit of Article 189, 189(2)(c) of the Constitution, that allowed now Kenyans, they can use their traditional dispute resolution mechanism, including mediation. Yes.
You've touched on one of the causes of why we have such a backlog. Maybe what are some other reasons why we have such backlogs, you know, in the courts?
Apart from understaffing, I think our lawyers also contribute, because anytime there is a dispute, people tend to say, let's meet in court. And most of these cases, if just handled at mediation, could significantly reduce the number of cases that are filed at the courts. Nowadays, all matters must be screened. And if found suitable for mediation, it is referred to the court-annexed mediation program. Most of them, you find that there is a very high success rate in mediation, in resolving these disputes, as compared to litigation. And it takes a shorter time doing it at the same time. Yes.
In addition to that, you realize that the litigation system, which is backed up by several laws, it's highly technical. It also takes a lawyer a lot of time to prepare before going to court. And this contributes towards actually delaying the matters, because the lawyers have to keep asking for adjournment, and they are right to do that, because they have to prepare adequately for their clients. But in mediation, the rules are very simple. It just operates on principles without technicalities. Actually, it doesn't entertain technicalities. You don't actually mediate rules or laws within mediation. It is very flexible, and therefore it allows very fast process to be able to conclude a matter which would take 30 years. It can take 3 hours.
To add on to what you said, litigation is mostly about the party positions. This party will say, this is my position, and they take very hardline positions. Mediation looks at the interest of the parties. And you find that when they seek to look at the interest, they go deeper into the matter, and getting a resolution out of that becomes easier, because at times one disputant may just need a simple "I am sorry" to solve a matter. It's sometimes never even about the court case itself.
But are there specific cases that mediation would suit? Because I'm thinking, if it's a case of murder or something, just let's talk about the cases that are suitable for this, or is it all round?
Basically, mediation can be used to resolve almost all the cases, provided it's a dispute involving parties. And but there are some cases that would be not very suitable for mediation. Like, for example, when you are somebody who has committed a crime against the state, probably attempting to overthrow a government, that is not a case that can come for mediation, because whom are you being mediated against? Because it's you and the state. But where we have individual parties involved, they are all suitable for mediation. We have seen even serious crimes like murder being mediated, like in the case of the Republic versus Mohammed. This case was in Wajir, and it is a renowned case, and the parties under Section 172 of the Criminal Procedure and Article 189, they were allowed to go for mediation, and they agreed, and the offender's family was able to pay the victim's family with camels, and they resolved, and they went back to the community, and they're living harmoniously. So we believe every dispute can be resolved through mediation. Complex succession and land matters have been resolved through mediation. We have had even Court of Appeal matters. I personally have had Court of Appeal matters, about 3, and I've seen parties resolving over land issues, squatter issues, and they are able to resolve amicably, and they live harmoniously, permanently, without having to go for any other appeal. Yes.
But one would argue, you know, for example, the case that you've just talked about, you know, the murder case, you know, solving it by, you know,